What's going on, guys? So I've been getting a lot of questions for at-home workouts, and this video and the subsequent series is going to be at-home core exercises. This is one of my personal favorites, especially for beginners. That being said, if you found this video on the internet machine, Google, YouTube, Bing, Ask Jeeves, whatever you've been using, and you want to burn your belly fat, I have a different exercise, a very good and actually a better and more effective exercise. It's called plate tosses. It's a little bit different than what most fitness Instagrammers and YouTubers will tell you. They'll give you these really intense, sweaty workouts and routines that you're jumping around, doing crazy stuff. What I want you to do is actually just want you to take a plate, just like this. And it's very simple, but also very difficult. No sweating involved. It's just instead of boredom eating or eating when you're not hungry or just eating extra food or extra calories, you just take the plate with all the food on it, you toss it away. That's all I want you to do. Now, the reason for this is because the only way to burn fat, either in your stomach or your arms or your cheek or your butt or your legs, the only way to do that is by eating fewer calories. Okay, and if you have questions on how many calories you should be eating, I have a video linked in the description explaining exactly how to do that. For today's video, I'm gonna show you one of my favorite at-home core workouts to strengthen your abdominal muscles. Now again, this isn't a fancy exercise. This isn't gonna be one of those regular YouTube or Instagram videos with jumping around and sweating. This is very simple, very effective, and if you're doing it properly, it's tremendously difficult. And it's just a plank. The issue is most people, they're not doing planks properly. So if you're one of the people who are like, oh, I can plank for a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and I don't feel it in my abs or it's not hard, you're doing it wrong. And I challenge you to watch this whole video and do it exactly as I show you and see if it's still not hard, all right? Because if you do a plank properly, it is one of the all-time best, most effective, difficult ab exercises you'll ever try. Now, when most people do a plank and they say they don't feel it, they're making one of these 3 mistakes. First one being, they're in this position, like this. My buddy Johnny Bag of Donuts calls this Viagra Falls. You don't wanna be hanging down low because you're not actually using your abs. The second mistake is where they're up like this, where their butt's high in the air. Again, you're not using your abs. And the third mistake is when you're here in the right position, but you're too far over your hands. You're putting all your weight in your shoulders. A lot of people complain that their shoulders burn during planks, but not their abs. It's because you're putting too much in your shoulders. The right plank position is your shoulders directly over your elbows and everything in one line from your heels all the way to your head. So you're gonna be here, feet back, and from the top of my heels all the way to my head, it's one straight line. Now, a couple things to keep in mind. A lot of people, they really struggle with their lower back like this. They'll overarch it here, which is one of the things that leads to Viagra Falls when you're in this position. So what I want you to think about is imagine you have a tail coming out of your lower back and you're like a scared dog. You're trying to tuck your tail in between your legs like a scared dog. So you're here and you tuck your tail. And what's gonna happen is a lot of coaches, they'll say, squeeze your glutes, squeeze your glutes, squeeze your butt. But just because you're squeezing your butt doesn't mean you're all of a sudden gonna be able to get out of this lower back position. And if you feel your lower back when you're doing a plank, this is why. So imagine you're a scared dog and it gets you in the right position. The issue from here is a lot of people overcorrect and they go from here to here. And that takes you out of the straight line. This is the really difficult part, is you're separating your lower back from the rest of your upper torso. So you're here, scared dog, and you push yourself away from the floor, okay? You don't wanna be hanging in here because when you do that, that's when you're gonna overcompensate. So you're here, scared dog, and push yourself away from the floor. This is the best plank position. You're in one straight line and you're really engaging your abs. And I want to clarify, when people say engage your abs, all it means is that you're relying on your core to resist the movement. That's what the plank does. The plank forces you to resist this movement. If you're doing this, then you're not actually using your abs. When you're using your abs properly, and you're engaging them, you're resisting that movement and hanging out here. If you're out here, too far above, in front of your hands or in front of your shoulders, then you're using passive ligaments, passive joints to do that. If you're up here, again, you're putting too much weight on your forearms rather than your abs. If you're here, one straight line, scared dog position, pushing away from the floor and holding it, now your abs are the main musculature resisting the movement, resisting gravity, and keeping you in this position, and it's much harder than most people actually realize. Now, because this is the first video in this series, we're gonna do more, this is the beginner variation. And if it's too difficult to do a plank just like that, you can always regress it and make it a little bit easier. And essentially, all you have to do in that situation is go on your knees instead of your feet. So you can go from here into a plank position. You can even put your feet down, put them up, whatever's more comfortable for you, but the same rules apply. You don't wanna be here and down here. You don't wanna be here and up here. You don't wanna have your knees too close so you're in front. You wanna be as far away as possible while making sure your abs are what's supporting you. And from here, you'd have a straight line from your knees all the way to the back of your head. You don't wanna be overarching. Again, scared dog. Tuck it in, push yourself away. This is the more beginner variation of a plank. Now, on the other hand, if you wanna make the plank harder, you can try this. Simply increasing the lever arm. And what that looks like is, instead of being here with your shoulders on top of your elbows, what you're gonna do is you're simply gonna push further back and extend yourself. So your feet go further behind you, and you can already hear in my voice, I'm shaking, because that lever arm makes it much more stressful on your abs. Now, when you're at home or at the gym or wherever you're doing this, I want you to focus on doing a variation that you can do for 30 seconds or less. If you're doing it for longer and you don't even really feel it in your abs, odds are your technique isn't as good as you think it is. So I want you to sort of check your technique relative to the pictures and videos I've put in this specific video. All right, sort of compare side to side. And if you're not sure what you look like, take pictures of yourself from the side view so you can see how your back looks, how your hips look, how your shoulders look in relation to your body. Once you get to a point where you can do a plank variation for 30 seconds, go to the next variation. So start on your knees, then go to the regular plank, and then go to the long lever plank. In the next video in this series that I post on YouTube, I'm gonna do a little bit more advanced ab progression that you can do at home, at the gym, wherever you are. If you found this video helpful, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you don't already, and tell me in the comment section if you have any ab exercises that you want me to cover the technique for. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching. I love you, I appreciate you. I'll talk to you soon.